The Invisible Man comes to us from director Leigh Whannell, who gave us the excellent pseudo-Robocop movie Upgrade back in 2018. This is the latest adaptation of H.G. Wells' novel, as well as being based on the 1933 movie with Claude Rains, which would later form the classic Universal monsters with characters like the Mummy and Dracula. Now, the 1933 Invisible Man was very much a tragic figure, meant as a cautionary tale about meddling with powers you don't understand. This modern reimagining is very much its own thing, that plays on modern fears and paranoia, with Dr. Griffin being more of an outright villain in this incarnation, but with some twists to keep you guessing. And with producer Jason Blum on board, this version absolutely leans more into the horror elements, with some of the most effective use of suspense on a horror movie since Get Out back in 2017. The Invisible Man 2020 follows Cecilia Cass, played by Elisabeth Moss, who barely escapes this controlling, toxic relationship with brilliant scientist Adrian Griffin. After Griffin's apparent suicide, Cecilia has a number of creepy and eerie encounters, leading her to believe that Griffin may still be alive and is using his apparent invisibility to torment her. The only issue is that Cecilia's tormentor is invisible, making it hard for anyone to take her seriously. Now, I have to give full credit to Leigh Whannell for writing the script and finding a plausible way to re-envision the Invisible Man for the modern age. While the pseudo sci-fi / horror elements are all there, this is a movie about abusive relationships and abusive partners, and how people tend to turn a blind eye to events happening behind closed doors, or refusing to believe people who are seeking help, particularly in this scenario, believing women. But what makes the script so brilliant is that it is constantly keeping you guessing, where things aren't always as they seem, with Whannell allowing for some ambiguity and grey morality towards whose side you're really on, with Cecilia's sanity constantly being questioned. This is the kind of film that once you've experienced it for the first time, your second viewing is likely going to be drastically different, as you look for certain clues relating to the movie's many twists and turns. What I love is how much care has been put into the Invisible Man, from the resounding and powerful opening title sequence to Leigh Whannell's welcome restraint in over-explaining the mythology through exposition. Invisible Man is not a film that talks down to the audience. It gives you just enough information about the world and characters to pique your interest and curiosity, before continuing with the main show of a tense, atmospheric, disturbing, and anxiety-fueled horror experience, designed through some of the best use of suspense that I've seen in any recent horror film. This is a film that is designed to be experienced with the best sound setup possible, as the sound design really makes the film all the more impactful and memorable. Composer Benjamin Wallfisch has done a phenomenal job in creating a haunting score that flawlessly builds and relieves tension when necessary. There are long, occasionally slow, stretches of the film that are very quiet, purposefully playing on Cecilia's anxiety as to who might be watching her and where this tormentor may be. This frequently results in some phenomenal scares that often linger in camera as you try to make out this invisible assailant. While the movie does have jump scares, they are refreshingly never cheap at the expense of the audience. Every scare is either designed to reveal new information about the Invisible Man or is integral to a certain character moment. Even moments designed to shock the audience at least have some relevance to the characters and story. I sincerely hope that other filmmakers thoroughly study how jump scares are approached in The Invisible Man. Leigh Whannell often contains a number of the movie sequences within one shot, which will feel familiar if you've seen Upgrade. Props really needs to go to all the camera work in editing, the stunt performers, and visual effects artists for making these sequences so effective, as all of these actors are forced to either pretend someone is beating them up or is working with a performer that is going to be edited out with CGI. The CGI for The Invisible Man is genuinely quite remarkable, where at times the character is only partially revealed, showing part of his figure while keeping other sections invisible. Believe me when I say the work is truly impressive. There are certain scenes where these elements are all staged and pulled off wonderfully, such as the fantastic hospital hallway sequence, which fans of Upgrade should get a kick out of, as well as the very memorable restaurant scene, which is all I'm going to say about that scene. I also appreciated The Invisible Man not being as reliant on gore as Upgrade was. While over-the-top gore in Upgrade was a ton of fun for that film, it would not have worked for The Invisible Man, and I am happy to see Leigh Whannell utilizing that restraint. While The Invisible Man is still a violent film, there is far more focus and value on suspense, atmosphere, and shock, rather than showcasing gory kills. Despite all this though, Invisible Man does suffer a little in terms of length, as all the character and story threads are trying to be wrapped up efficiently. This makes Invisible Man a film that can satisfyingly stand on its own, but with enough mysticism surrounding the world that the story could continue if the filmmakers chose to. Additionally, some character motivations in the film can be a little vague, or they aren't as effectively defined as say Cecilia's motivations are, particularly Adrian Griffin, who we learn about primarily through other characters rather than getting to spend a great deal of time with him. And sure, some of the supporting characters fall into your usual horror archetypes. In addition, when the movie is eventually forced to give some information and exposition, it definitely borders on coming across as being a little silly. But thankfully these moments are very few and far between, as the movie keeps its more grounded and serious tone throughout. It's these types of issues that are better left not being thought about too too hard, which is a little disappointing as The Invisible Man is presented as a more thoughtful and methodical horror film. Regardless, The Invisible Man is an absolute masterclass in building tension and suspense, keeping a consistent sense of anxiety and paranoia. As far as I'm concerned, this is the definitive version of The Invisible Man's story, surpassing James Whale's version and Paul Verhoeven's Hollow Man. This is a difficult film to talk about without spoiling anything, so trust me when I say if you're a horror fan or you're excited to see this film, see The Invisible Man as soon as possible, as this is a movie that you do not want spoiled. The Invisible Man gets an 8.5 out of 10 from me. Guys, I hope you liked this review. If you want to see more reviews just like this one, stay right here for your mono fix. Bye guys.